By now, you've probably seen the quotes, and I'm not gonna lie, I am very late in talking about this, but it is because I am indeed back in Vancouver from California. My vacation is over, so we're back to regular scheduled programming, and today I wanted to go over some of the Winnipeg Jets stuff. Now, the Jets' end of playoffs press conference is currently going on at the moment. Like, as I am talking to you on this microphone, there are Jets suiting up at the pressers and answering questions. But today what I wanted to do is focus more so on the guys that have kind of been the main figures in a lot of Winnipeg Jets-related discourse the past few days. Now, the Jets got eliminated by the Vegas Golden Knights in the first round of the 2023 Stanley Cup Playoffs. They were eliminated in 5 games. They won Game 1, and then they lost 4 straight. So a very domineering sort of series for the Golden Knights from Game 2 and beyond. If you take a look at the scores, too, of all of these games, you could see that Winnipeg came out of the gate flying. They won Game 1 5-1, but then they had a 5-2 loss in there. They then lost in double overtime in Game 3, giving the Golden Knights the series lead, and then the Jets lost 4-2 in Game 4 and 4-1 in Game 5. Very uninspiring scores to end off the series, but that Game 5 is where everything sort of broke down. Now, I'm no Winnipeg Jets YouTuber. I'm not going to go out there and dissect every game because, unfortunately, they're not one of my favorite teams. Peg City Hockey, though, a very good friend of mine, he actually was at some of the games in this postseason run, and he does primarily base his content off of Jet stuff. You'll probably be able to check out his channel if you want a more extended look as to each of the games and what happened in all these games. But the long story short, Spark Note summary of the last parts of this series for Winnipeg was that they played poorly. They went out there and they weren't up to the standard that a lot of people had for this Jets team, especially when you consider the run they went on to end off the regular season to make the playoffs in the first place. They went on a pretty big heater. They forced themselves into that wildcard spot. They had a great Game 1 against Vegas, and then everything fell apart. The quotes from Rick Bowness after Game 5 made headlines, and I did read these. I was on vacation, as I said, but while I was out there walking on Hollywood Boulevard and doing all the cool touristy things that people do in California, I was kind of shocked. I was like, damn, Rick Bowness really went off on his team. They lost in 5 games, and now you have Bowness going out there in the media in the post-game presser saying things like, I'm so disappointed and disgusted right now. This article on dailyfaceoff.com from back then, written by Scott Maxwell, goes over all the quotes that Bowness had, and the interview is only like a minute long. He leaves the press conference saying, hey, are we done? Good, we're done. And then he leaves because he's so frustrated, and you could definitely see that he did not want to be there. This is the main comment that everybody was talking about. I'm so disappointed and disgusted right now talking about his team's performance in the press conference. We gotta push back. There's gotta be pushback. There's gotta be pride. You gotta be able to push back when things aren't going their way, and we had no pushback. It's the same crap we saw in February it was. As soon as we were challenged for first place and teams were coming after us, we had no pushback. This series, we had no pushback. Their better players were so much better than ours tonight, and they deserve to win. They were the better team in the regular season, and they were the better team this series. Now, the Jets were on top of the West, I'm pretty sure it was, earlier on in the year, like around the New Year's-ish point of time. They were one of the better teams, but they did sort of fall off, especially towards that third quarter of the year. As we had said, they needed to do a big pushback at the end of the season to make the wild card in the first place. And Rick Bowness is going out there saying, yeah, it's the same sort of pattern, this team and their pride. It's not really going out there and doing what it's supposed to be doing. And in fact, we had a really good response from a lot of social media regarding this Rick Bowness press conference. It's a really bold one, by the way, but of course, it happened a few days ago, so I don't think making it the main video topic today is all too necessary. Greg Wyshynski said this: the most fascinating thing about Rick Bowness's tirade last night about the Jets' pitiful playoff effort is that it's essentially an admission of defeat on his part. Bowness was hired for 2 reasons. 1, Barry Trotz didn't want to coach the Jets, and 2, Bowness was seen as someone that could challenge the veteran core, both politically and in their comfortability. He stripped Wheeler of the sea, things turned around, until they backslid in February. When Bowness says after Game 5 that it's the same crap and their better players are so much better than ours, it's not even close, all I hear is, "Welp, I tried." They called in a specialist. The cancer is still there. If that's not a reason to blow up the core, then I don't know what is. And it's a really interesting perspective here because you don't normally see head coaches lambast their team as publicly and as bluntly as Rick Bowness did in that press conference. Now, I did say that today, on Saturday, there is another presser going on right now, the regular end-of-season media availability. It's going on as I speak, and we had some more comments made from Rick Bowness, from Blake Wheeler, from some other people that are noteworthy in this story too. Rick Bowness himself actually said that he felt that it was a little bit too blunt. He said disgusted was probably too strong of a word, although he does say he can't go out there in the media and sugarcoat a Game 5 that was like that. He also had some rumors popping up here asking whether or not Rick Bowness would want to stick around in Winnipeg. Elliot Friedman said this, some questions after Vegas series about whether or not Rick Bowness would want to return. He said today that he does. Now, when it comes to the rest of the Jets and their responses, though, this is what Blake Wheeler said in response to the Rick Bowness comments from Game 5. "I thought Bones had an opportunity to address us as a team. He could have been honest with us, handled it behind closed doors. I didn't like how he handled himself after the game." Now, there's more to it. It's like kind of a minute long, the answer he has to that question. He talks about how important it is to play with the Winnipeg Jets and the pride that the team has, and he just essentially says that he doesn't agree with the way Bowness handled himself in talking about Game 5 after the series loss. And then you had yourselves the other comment here. Kyle Connor says Rick Bowness's comments reflect an emotional guy who wants to win. He says we can ask Bowness if it was a mistake or if he would change things in how he talked about that game. Neither Connor nor Wheeler said they expect Bowness to be perfect, but seem to wish Bowness kept it behind closed doors. You then also had yourself some more comments made by Connor Hellebuck. "My main goal is to win a Stanley Cup, and I'm starting to run out of time." He's not sure what his plans are in Winnipeg for him in the future. He wants a Stanley Cup, and he's not interested in a rebuild. And based off the comments from all the other Winnipeg Jets, it's apparent that that seems to be the growing sentiment amongst the team holistically. No rebuild. Kyle Connor said no player in their mid-20s wants to go through a rebuild. And it's really interesting to note that because, as Greg Wyszynski said, even if you get Rick Bowness, you get yourselves a hard-nosed coach, you get yourselves a guy that wants to go out there and prove the haters wrong, you still have the same problems. You still have some of the deficiencies in your leadership and how this team traverses around the ice that happened in February and then that happened in the second game of the playoffs. Is a rebuild necessary here? Some may say yes, you need to shake up that core. But it's very apparent that a lot of the players on the team itself would say no when they don't want to go out there and do that. And so one part of me is saying, well, I appreciate Rick Bowness and the honesty he presented when talking about how poorly the Winnipeg Jets played. On the other hand, I can understand why some of the players are sort of frustrated with how he dealt with that, but at the same time, if it's true, I don't really have any problems with him saying it in the way that he did. Blake Wheeler, Kyle Connor, I get that you guys are defending your team and your teammates, but if it was a pathetic performance, which I didn't watch the game, unfortunately, but based off of all the Reddit comments I had seen, it apparently was, then I don't really have too much of a problem in saying what a lot of people would agree to have been true. So, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If there's anything else that you think I missed here as well regarding the Jets and their end of season, end of playoff press conferences. Again, it is going on right now as I'm speaking to you. I just kind of wanted to go over some of the main quotes that I thought were important, but if there's anything else you thought was interesting to note, or that should have been noted in this type of a conversation, then hey, let me know in the comments all your opinions about the Jets, about Rick Bowness, about Wheeler, about all the stuff that they had dealt with in this postseason run. I hope you enjoyed this video, ROASTS 99, and bye.